Well, Sam pays taxes to the city now for part of his driveway. He gets two tax statements.
And then the state right away, I don't know where the state right away is either.
Yeah, that's, we've got a map here from the county, but it's not a very good map because it really doesn't have the boundary lines in the right place, so. But they are kind of balloon when you look at the shapes, the properties back there, and it's gonna fit exactly what you're talking about, Tom. It's gonna be a bunch of regular shaped land going from one government area to the next,
Well, we already have that.
so.
All you gotta do is look at the map on 43, it looks like a flight of a moth.
Yeah, this can be, it is a mixed bag of what it looks like and what the description is gonna be, you know. It can be real messy.
But Sam's property is contiguous with the city, so that isn't gonna be something sticking out like a sore thumb.
It'll be just a different jury rig of the same type of thing.
And it's just having access then to the remaining land that would be in the village, if it could, that road could be used for the same access.
The Diamonds own the part of the driveway that's in the city, correct? And that's a small part. Who owns the balance?
As I understand, Sam and Huron share some ownership, or at least easement right. So on Sam's property, they gave each other in sale when they bought this from whoever they bought it from years ago. It's legally enforceable on their
Sam's land was originally a Dahman
property.
property.
It was all
in the
down
first
up there.
place, yeah,
I mean, the one that Manny in the back is a Dahman as well.
yeah.
So it was a Dahman area, and it was just family members that subdivided, lots for themselves. So, but anyway, that, the bottom line gets to be the access to the other properties. The last thing we wanna do is tie a knot that says, well, this is where it stops. If indeed that is the case, that needs to go away.
Well, if Sam and Huron, and I assume Manuel back there,
They have all easements.
they have given each other easements over this, so if somebody else wanted to build back there, they would have
They
to
would
get
have to-
permission from those three.
Unless it was developed into a street.
Well, it's not wide enough to get,
Probably, well,
it's not,
Not
well,
60, not 60 feet.
no, it's not wide enough.
it's two runs.
No, it's probably, we couldn't make it.
Probably 30 on a good day, I guess.
Yeah.
Isn't very wide, so. There's land there, I'm sure, it's just, much trees and stuff now.
Well, you don't consider it a street currently.
We do not maintain it as a private access.
And I don't think anything we're talking about here is gonna change any of that. The only thing that'll change is where is that ownership now vested? Is it a part of this city or that city? That's the only thing that's changing. We're certainly not intending to take on a road. And if you didn't make it a road, then we don't have any decision to make about roads, in our opinion.
So, I mean, it's come up, it's just, nothing's ever happened, we never got together to really talk about what is or isn't. And I know that it's a little bit of urgency now because it's probably time that some of this infrastructure is gonna go in. And, I don't believe it's ever been thought that if that's what he needs, and he does have the availability to add on to what he has. But it's gonna tie his hands behind his back, a little bit. And, that's not the desire, of our government to force undue hardship.
Okay, you don't object to the detachment, but you believe you're entitled to compensation for it.
I would have you consider some compensation or potential swap. And there could be another property that could be swappable.
And if
Yeah,
it is-
we talked about
Right,
that.
it doesn't currently
and
receive city
It
services.
doesn't
so.
get city
And if it
services.
is that, the same considerations should be made. I mean, not necessarily because, if that's what somebody's desire is, that it's granted based on the desire. I mean, if they already have other services that are provided, like sewer and water, that the infrastructure's there, that's a different thing. But if it's anything short of that, that the same consideration would be granted both ways. If that's the desire of.
I don't imagine anybody has talked to those people.
I didn't really think that it's my place to go out
No,
to,
it's not really mine either.
but I mean, we're not soliciting.
No, I understand.
It was brought to my attention at one point when he talked to me about it, and,
Will they mention it to you?
yeah.
So what kind of, assuming no
Talking about
swap is
Durham's
possible,
place? Yes.
what kind of compensation were you
Fair
thinking
talk.
of?
We'd hope for 100 years of taxes.
100 years of
100 years,
taxes,
so
well,
that's pretty reasonable,
we'll
isn't it?
take that under advisement.
We had suggested the number of 7 years as a point of consideration. And when you look at the number of tax dollars there, under the current structure, I think the village portion is like $400 and some dollars. We got the county per year for this, the village portion, not taking the city or the county portion or the school tax portion.
Oh, right.
That's all you can look at, is what portion you
Right.
got, so. That was $400 and some yearly, if I'm correct, but, so. You didn't think 100 years was quite good?
I said, we'll think about it. But right, no.
You guys are ready to do it.
There you go. Chris can read it.
Write a check.
Okay, what is the next step?
Orally, this is concurrent attachment of annexations.
I would,
What is the next step here?
Not that I'm aware
As far
As
as,
far as saying, if it's gonna be detached and annexed, what is the next step?
I would say that it's
Yeah,
gonna have to go to,
when I was looking at it, when you got two municipalities like this, the logical and appropriate one is this concurrent detachment and annexation. I mean, Sam could proceed, but he would, be just a real costly, protracted arrangement without some arrangement ahead of time. And we talked tonight, I guess I'll just repeat what we talked about. The most common reasons for an agreement for concurrent detachment and annexation are the need for utility and other municipal services, which is what Rushford is saying, is the landowner's interest. To straighten out boundaries, because you don't want to do the opposite, make them worse, that's what I was trying to.
I ain't gonna
Focus
focus
on
on
this.
whether it makes it any worse.
Third, development purposes. And then lastly, road construction and improvement. So, even though people got access, by private, once it's in a jurisdiction, there's always the potential to make it public by, some acquisition or condemnation or something. If that's what they're talking about, I think. It can have more ramifications than just the landowners themselves. It can be public, and that's why I asked if this was leading to any place or going to any place where it could be effective.
Yeah, but right now, it just serves those parties, and they're the only ones with easements, as Ted alluded to. I mean, if somebody else wanted it, they would have to acquire those accesses.
But I mean, for public development is one thing. I guess what you don't wanna have is later on, say, oh my gosh, we didn't think about that. We thought about saying, need for, water and sewer, but we didn't think about this. But once you think about all those things and you come to some mutual, benefit arrangement, then you reach an agreement, and then it's clear sailing from that point on, to get it done.
Does this have to get approved by the state themselves?
Well, they do, but they're pretty routinely approved.
They will approve if they're both governmental entities approved.
As a matter of fact, that's what I'm pretty much reading. Otherwise, it can be, the cost of it can be more than what the benefit is realized soon.
So can you write into the agreement, can you write in language about that roadway to be sure that something doesn't happen to you in the future, or?
I'm sure you could. I mean,
But that's what the
but that,
two agreed to.
when you can't, the landowner owns the land, but there's always the potential for public entities to take some public action, whether it's condemnation, acquisition, and only the jurisdiction in which the land sits will be able to do that.
how do you understand that?
I would be, considering that the compensation or whatever, something can be worked out. I would be fair to say that if indeed that the infrastructure is going to be going in, it needs to be understood that it will take place. If there's negotiations with the other numbers, that could probably continue even after the fact, but I would not want to miss the opportunity to have